Hey guys, it's Luke here and welcome back to another video. You join me today on a lovely day back in the M140i. Actually, I say it's been a lovely day. The weather today has been really all over the place. You might be able to see it's pretty windy and we've had a few light showers here and there. But anyway, I'm rambling on as per usual. Today we're out in the M140i, but we're not necessarily going to be speaking about this M140i. There's been a few rumours and little bits of spy footage out there about a potential latest generation M140i. Of course, we know the latest generation M135i, which definitely does have mixed opinions, and if some of the facts are true, which I've heard about the new 140, then I don't think it's really going to live up to what this car is. Anyway, we're on a lovely road, so I'm going to pop this back into sport mode. Make a bit of noise. So yes, basically, a mysterious BMW in full camo has been seen on the Nürburgring. Now, this would naturally be the new M140i because, of course, the 135i is already out in the open, and realistically, BMW don't have any other kind of small mini hot hatch that they would be bringing out. It would most likely be the M140i. Now, I will be overlaying some photos and videos at some point in this video to show you the car and to see how it sounds, because that is definitely going to be a talking point as well. But at least for the time being, me real time, I'm just enjoying being out in this car because, as you may have seen in my recent video, it's been, well, no it hasn't, but before then it's been 2 months since I've been out in this car properly. Anyway, this video is not about this car, it's about this new mysterious M140i and whether there is actually going to be one, because there has been some mixed opinions on whether it is an M140i, whether it's a hoax, whether it's almost like a throw-off from BMW. And so hopefully what we're going to be doing in this video is compiling all of that information together, basically so we can kind of make up our mind and come to a conclusion about what it is we're seeing. So yeah, that's the plan for the video. So yeah, let's crack on. The first bit of info I'm going to share with you guys is actually quite an important bit of information, and that is an actual quote from someone at BMW basically stating that they're not going to be making anything more powerful in an M-like form basically than the M135i xDrive. However, I have evidence, or what I think is evidence, against that, because this mysterious car that's been going around the Nürburgring has very subtly been being followed by an M135i. And why would you, first of all, test a car in full camo, which is already out there in the open and already being driven by customers? And also, why would you have a fully uncamoed car following it? So this kind of identifies to me that what it is that's testing, or has been testing, on the Nürburgring is not an M135i, and the natural progression to an M135i is an M140i. So I'll play some of these clips now, and yeah, let me know what you think. So, yes, I know what you're thinking. That does not sound like a 6-cylinder. It sounds exactly like a 4-cylinder, which, to be honest, wouldn't be... I mean, I can see it happening. Yeah, basically, I can see it happening. However, it's not completely dead in the water. This could be just a random engine which they're testing for another car, which they've just coincidentally put, in this case, in an M135 body, because the new M340i Touring is a 6-cylinder, which means there is hope. There is a glimmer of hope that we may have a similar kind of setup in the new car than this one. Albeit I can't really see it personally, because I mean, even other hot hatches outside of BMW are resorting to the 4-cylinder 2-litre. Look at the A45S, for example. That is the most powerful 2-litre ever made. 420 horsepower, absolutely incredible car which I've been lucky enough to drive on track. Yeah, incredible car, even though it doesn't have the biggest of engines. And actually, I say that a 2-litre 4-cylinder is the hot hatch remedy. I've said that a lot before. A hot hatch, most commonly, is a 300 brake horsepower 2-litre 4-cylinder car. And obviously Mercedes have carried that on from the previous generation, but also it has been kind of lightened down and watered down a little bit because of various regulations and OPF filters and everything like that. Anyway, I'm getting off the point. If BMW were to make the new 140i a 2-litre 4-cylinder, then they would have the A45S as a direct rival. Now this means that the new RS3 could be instantly the ultimate hot hatch of this generation if they keep the same engine, the 5-cylinder. However, we don't know anything about that yet, or at least not in today's video anyway. But like I said, if this car would be a 2-litre, then it would have the A45S as a direct rival. And we know how good the A45S is. 420 horsepower from a stock engine. It's pretty powerful, but I know there is a huge amount of people who would love for there to be still a B58 style engine in the new car, to have it continued on. Because this car, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people are going to agree, is a pretty legendary car. And I'm not saying that because I own one, of course I'm going to be pretty biased, but there isn't really anything like this in the hot hatch world. And actually, going on from this, there have been rumours that it will be a rear-wheel drive 3-litre car. However, because this car has been testing, it would naturally be that is the M140i in full camo. You can't really get much of an idea because of the bodywork, it's all camoed out. And also another thing you can get from the videos is that it definitely isn't rear-wheel drive, or at least rear only. I reckon, okay, this is my little kind of prediction, that it's going to be a 2-litre 4-cylinder. As hard as that is to say, I think it's going to happen. I think it's going to have some hybrid assistance, because I think that's a way now which any car manufacturers can stick to the guidelines that are in place, but also have a bit of fun and have big power. He was in the middle of the road, wasn't he? What an idiot. So yeah, I think hybrid assistance is definitely on the cards, and I also think that a clever all-wheel drive system, which would mean that yes, it would be all-wheel drive the most of times, or maybe even front-wheel drive, like the 135i, but you can also have the opportunity to put quite a lot of power to the rear wheels. I can imagine that being a thing, and to be honest, realistically, how things are at the moment, that's all we can really pray for. I mean, look at the A45S, for example. That has drift mode, and the new Golf R, as you may know, I've covered that a lot. That's rumoured to have drift mode too. But on the other hand, there were rumours, and it was partially confirmed, that the 2 Series Grand Coupe would be 3-litre. And obviously, that's not a thing because it's got the same engine as the 135i. So there's a lot of different rumours out there. I think it's likely that it won't have a B58 engine in it, or a slightly modified and upgraded B58 into the modern day. I can see it being a 2-litre, unfortunately. However, really, BMW aren't really saying anything at all, which is kind of, I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if they're being secret, kind of are going to keep it all a surprise and say, boom, there we go, we've listened, it's still rear-wheel drive and it's like 500 horsepower from a 3-litre. You never know. You can hope and pray, can't you? You really can. So, looking at the looks of the car, at least what we can get from the videos and the photos that we've seen, it does actually look a lot like an M135i. That is kind of BMW's design cues that they're using for this next generation series of M-Lights, I suppose you could say. Very boxy, or at least more boxy than this car. This car is almost like quite streamlined and elegant in a way, I suppose you could say. Ow, something just fell off a tree there, did you hear that? But anyway, what you can see from the photos and videos that have been surfing the web at the moment, we've still got the 2 exhausts from the rear, one on each side, which is, I think, a very M-Light trait to have, and is, well, at least when the car is fully camoed, an easy way to identify that it's not just a standard 1 Series. Another thing which I've noticed is it looks like the BMW kidney grills that are, for some reason, getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every single model that they bring out. They seem to be getting smaller. They seem to be a little bit smaller on this car. Now, whether that is them just testing some different parts, or whether they do agree that they do actually look pretty hideous, it just seems that from this, they do seem a touch smaller, which is good, and I'm hoping that's not just camo covering the rest of it up. But anyway, that's what I'm getting. You can can also see that the car is 5-door. Now we won't know anything whether it would be only a 5-door or we get 3-door as well in the new generation. Similarly to the new Golf R, that's rumoured to only be 5-door, so there's no more 3-doors. So whether the 140 is going to be the same, I don't know. In fact, I'm pretty sure you can't get 3-door in the 135, so maybe that's a little pointer towards that. But to be honest, in general, you can't really get much of an idea about what the car will look like because it's so highly camoed. But you can kind of get an idea that it's most definitely a new BMW, because you kind of get those little hints that it does seem a little bit boxy, it does seem a little bit tall, and it does actually look a lot like the 135. However, going back to the sound, that's one thing which you definitely can get. Now this might be, like I said, just a random engine which they're testing. We can hope, I really hope that is the case, and it could also be that the exhaust system has not been finished at all. They haven't really fine-tuned the sound or anything. But it definitely doesn't sound like this car, does it? Definitely doesn't sound like it at all. But at the end of the day, BMW literally have said nothing about this. In fact, they virtually denied that it's happening, even though they're definitely up to something, that is for sure. Whether it could be the 140 or whether it could be maybe a more hardcore version of the 135i, because let's not forget, the 135i has only been out about 5 minutes, and if they're going to come straight out now in less than a year with a 140, I'm not sure whether they'll do that, whether they're really making new cars that quickly, because casting it back to the previous generation of this generation, the 135i came out, I think, probably a couple of years before they introduced the 140, and of course that had a different engine than this car, which is another thing which we can grab onto and hope that this is the case. Maybe they're just trolling us, you know? Maybe they're just gonna leave it for a few years and then maybe when the time's right, just slip it in there like, oh yeah, here's the new M140, it's got a different engine than the 135i, and guess what? It's got more cylinders. That's what we want, okay? That's what we want, and I hope you guys can understand with me here that really there isn't very much information. There certainly hasn't been any press releases at all from BMW. I'm just making this video to basically compile all this together to see if we are going to get a new 140 and whether what we're seeing in the videos and stuff, whether it really is it or not. I am certainly very excited, I suppose you could say, at the thought of a new generation, because it's always exciting when new cars come out. I'm sure you guys can agree with me there, but just we are really unsure at the moment what it will be. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap things up for today's video. Like I said, I hope you guys can understand that I can't really come out there and say, oh yeah, it's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to be this, and it's going to be that, because BMW haven't really said anything. This is very much so an assumptions video. I am guessing, like everyone is at the moment, but I'd just like to make this video to really document 140 life and what I know a lot of current 140 owners will be checking about, because it is, well, it's a hot topic at the moment. We've got the new Golf R out, which of course a lot of my followers and myself are very close to. Yeah, this could be very interesting, and hopefully as the year progresses we'll be able to get a better idea about what we're looking at and maybe get some indications whether we'll be getting a new 140 or a hardcore M135, which to be honest I can't really see happening. But anyway, I am rambling on. I seem to ramble along a lot when I'm driving my car in videos, and I've also found myself in a random housing estate and I'm lost, so I'm going to wrap things up there. I'm going to go this way. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please do make sure to leave a like and make sure to subscribe for all the adventures